It is no mystery that the late 90s and early 2000s were dark and uncertain times at Disney. Audiences just weren't connecting with the animated movies as they had been 10 years previously, and the rise of CG animation left Disney's hand-drawn way behind. In an attempt to combat this, Disney turned to the films which had worked during their Renaissance days to use those characters to serve us further stories in the forms of direct-to-video prequels, sequels, midquels and the likes. This studio formula went on to extend to their oldest classics and even to some of their newest stuff, which wasn't doing very well anyway, but whatever. Something had to keep Disney Toon Studios in business. Alongside this also came a plethora of TV shows, also in the forms of prequels and sequels, etc., as well as alternative timelines, meaning deciphering the exact chronology of some of Disney's most beloved classics can become a rather arduous task. So today I'm going to present to you the most detailed timelines I can fathom with regards to the chronological order of each of the extended Disney classics. Before we do go on, I'd just like to take the moment once again to reference Walt's view on this matter.
I don't like to make sequels to my pictures. I like to take a new thing and develop something, a new concept.
Thank you. Before we do start, I'm going to be ignoring the gazillion Disney movies and TV shows based on Winnie the Pooh because it was beginning to make my head hurt, and also figuring out a chronology is pretty much impossible. Also, I'm not bothering with mini movies like Frozen Fever. Beginning with those which received only the most basic of extensions, the sequel. Lady and the Tramp, The Jungle Book, Pocahontas, Hunchback, Mulan, Atlantis and Brother Bear all end up in this category, meaning their chronology is pretty much self-explanatory. Special mention to The Rescuers, which received their proper Disney animated sequel way before all this nonsense began, and is still the only canon sequel, well, at least until Ralph breaks the internet next year. Cinderella is an interesting case, being the only classic to receive exactly 2 sequels, the second of which being a story about time travel, meaning the events of the first film are revisited. I feel there's probably some Doc Brown level explanation here, but basically things end up pretty much the same in both timelines. The ever-elusive midquel came back to haunt 5 classics, including Bambi and The Fox and the Hound. Those 2, whereas entirely unnecessary, have second movies which just slide into the respective points in their original films. Bambi right after his mother is killed, and The Fox and the Hound towards the end of the time when the title characters are still children. Beauty and the Beast's Enchanted Christmas opens as a sequel to the first film and then flashes back to during the Christmas period of Belle's stay in the castle. Belle's magical world also takes place at a very similar time and ends up dragging out a period presented as a few quick scenes in the original. Hercules is a strange case, being the only classic to receive only a TV show and never a further film. The TV series technically takes place during Herc's training with Phil, yet it's often debated whether it can even be in the same continuity as the original film due to Hades' knowledge of Hercules' survival. Make of that what you will. Tarzan 2 takes place during Tarzan's childhood, which plays out as the song Son of Man in the original. The film is then followed by the Legend of Tarzan TV show and the film Tarzan and Jane. Yet that is only made up of 3 previously unreleased episodes of the TV show, so I'm not even entirely certain it counts as its own entity. Does anybody care? Similar situations to Hercules both play out with 101 Dalmatians and The Emperor's New Groove, which both have associated sequels and TV series. Basically, the 100 Dalmatians animated series is entirely removed from the films and presents the same characters in an entirely different universe and chronology. Both Kronk's New Groove and The Emperor's New School can potentially take place following the original film, yet there's a number of conflicting scenarios, including Kronk's job and Isma's appearance, meaning they most likely don't take place in the same timeline. A grand total of 2 classics have further media which can be classed as prequels, the first being Peter Pan, which is preceded by no less than the 7 Tinkerbell movies. They then take place in the order of their release, so there's not too much confusion there. Following Peter Pan is the TV show Jake and the Neverland Pirates, which takes place before Return to Neverland, as is evident through the ages of the Darling Children. The Little Mermaid prequel was actually the last direct-to-video production, with Ariel's beginning taking place before the very first TV series based on a film, of course, Little Mermaid. Return to the Sea is then placed years after the events of the first film. The extended universe of Aladdin has a nice, simple structure to it and is somewhat responsible for all of this mess, with Return of Jafar being the first direct-to-video sequel produced. That is then followed up by the Aladdin TV series and is then capped off with the finale of The Prince of Thieves. Get in, get the job done, get out, simple. The Lion King 1.5 is a strange film, which I actually kind of enjoy, but is a nightmare when it comes to the timeline. On the whole, it runs parallel to The Lion King, technically beginning just before the first film. However, it's then presented that Timon and Pumbaa are watching this film from some point in the future, so there's a weird question of when that actually takes place. Excuse? It's meta. Following The Lion King, we have the TV show Timon and Pumbaa, which I'm going to say takes place before Simba's Pride because it was produced first. Keep things simple. Then comes the recent additional film Return of the Roar, which served as a pilot to The Lion Guard, both coming towards the end of the timeline. Also presently receiving additions is Tangled, whose TV film Before or After follows on from the movie and is then followed by the animated series. Whenever that ends, it will be succeeded by the already released Tangled Ever After. Probably my favourite of any animated classic is the extended continuity of Lilo and Stitch. Everything just follows a really nice cohesive pattern. Although it was released much later, Stitch Has a Glitch is correctly labelled as Lilo and Stitch 2 and takes place following the original and prior to Stitch the movie. This then sets in motion the events of the animated series and culminates with the film Leroy and Stitch. It's like a nice perfect package. Sure, you can destroy it by adding the follow-up Stitch anime series, but why would you do that to yourself? So that's hopefully a nice cohesive representation of the extended chronologies of the Disney classics. Don't worry, I'm in no way encouraging anybody to sit through any of the aforementioned direct-to-video movies. Maybe just give The Lion King 1.5 a try and see how much it messes with your head. Join the discussion down below, and join me for further Disney movie analysis on this channel very soon. I am Joseph Worthington, and this is Cruella's Fur Coat. Be sure to subscribe for more Disney videos and don't stay too long.